Anyway, let's talk about this circuit, because it's a really cool circuit. It is a race driving circuit, and it's got some quirky particulars about it. When we fly around it just quickly, this will give you a sense of what I'm banging on about. This thing just endlessly turns. There's 18 corners on this place, 4.95 kilometres, and there's 200 km/h corners, there's 75 km/h corners, and everything in between. And that gives you a sense, almost makes you sick, doesn't it? But more than any circuit we go to in the country, you spend more time here turning the race car than anywhere else. So that's a really important factor when it comes to this. Downforce. This is an aerodynamic circuit. And I want to talk the difference between Gen 2 car last year and Gen 3 car this year, right? Now, when we look at a Gen 3 car going around, just in the practice session there this morning, you can see high aero, high speed, and when there's not a lot of downforce that we don't have on these cars now, the driver's got to work harder. And I was trying to think, what's a good analogy? Imagine going out onto wet grass or damp grass with your footy boots with sprigs in the bottom of them, you can dig in. That's downforce. It pushes your tyres into the road. Imagine unscrewing the sprigs off your boots then and trying to run around the same. You just don't have the same level of grip, so you've got to work harder. So that's what we've got now. When we look why and how that's happened, here's a Gen 3 car. If we tip him upside down, you'll see underneath the car here, this under tray here used to be a full wing, if you like, that used to create a lot of downforce. As you can see now, look at the apertures in there. That's done intentionally to get rid of all the downforce that was being created there, so it doesn't push into the road as hard. And when you look at the car more holistically back here, much, much smaller rear wing. So what does that mean in the real world out on the track? Well, we've built this beautiful little model here. Malcolm's done some great work. Downforce. I want to go around the track and I want you to look. Here's the speed. Real speed, we've got this from data. Here's the downforce of last year's car, and this is this year's car in kilograms, right? They're big numbers. So as we come along into turn one, for example, what's our speed up there? About 265. So that's top speed. That's right when you put your foot on the brakes. Have a look at the difference. Way less than half, about 60% of it's gone in terms of downforce. Then when we get down into the corner to what would be the slowest part of the corner, right about there. Now this is where you need the car to really turn to really make it happen. And look, a fraction of the downforce right when you need the most from it. So when we go around the circuit a little further, let's have a look at this complex. Now this is nothing like it in Australia. This great big couple hundred k's an hour down through here, 7, 8, 9 and 10, and the same thing applies. This is all aero down here. You're trying to get the car to turn. Again, look at our figures, look at our numbers. Look at this, we get up to like 200 k's an hour into here, and look at the downforce difference. It's actually phenomenal, way more than you would have thought. So the driver's got to wrestle that car around there. Doesn't matter what speed it is, 180, 160. It's the same thing everywhere to go. So you've got to have balance because you're going to be sliding the car. You've got to manage your tyres. It's much, much harder. And then if we go around to the back of the circuit, where a corner, say 100 k's an hour, a little bit slow, a little more moderate, the same things apply. Doesn't matter where it is. Look at the speeds here. When we get into the centre of the corner here, about 100 k's an hour, look at that, less than half the downforce. And a really hard one for drivers is when we come around here, we want to turn late and make the car rotate. So right at the point, right there, where we want the car to rotate really nicely, again, a fraction of the downforce. So all of this is really good because for me, one of the things we wanted to try and achieve with Gen 3 is not only to make the drivers work harder, but is this. Cars can follow closer now and still be in a position to attack. We couldn't do that before because of what was called aero wash. When cars used to follow closely behind previously, because they relied so much on the downforce, the car in front sent disturbed air over the car, so the car behind was punished. Now, as you can see, cars are running closer together, so for me, that's a really good outcome, and I can hope we can deliver a little bit of this out here this afternoon because it is very much an aerodynamic circuit.